What's up, family? Welcome back to another video. So, South Carolina head coach Staley is back in the headlines, and once again, it's centered around Caitlin Clark. But this time, it's not a post-game conference or a podcast; it's a book. In her new memoir, Uncommon Favor, Staley reflects on a range of personal and professional moments. But one statement stood out and reignited old debates, and she calls out South Carolina's 2023 Final Four loss to Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes, the toughest loss of her coaching career. Now, let's be real. On paper, that's a surprising claim, but Staley has been coaching for decades. She lost in national title games, Olympic competitions, Southern Eastern Conference battles. Yet, the semifinal loss to Iowa, the one that didn't even take her team to the championship, is what she singles out. And not this past year's loss to UConn and Paige Buckers, an actual national title game. So what makes this different? Let's dig in. So rather Staley intended it or not, this reads like more than basketball. The implication isn't just that it was a tough loss, it's that losing to Caitlin Clark hurt more than losing to any other player. Why? Is it because Clark represents the new face of the game? Because she's a player dominating the league early? When it comes to shaping the new generation of talent and culture, or because she brought a spotlight to women basketball that's now changed and how it's consumed, debated, and even commercialized. So, whatever the reason, the statement struck a nerve, and some are calling it honesty, others are calling it bitterness, and the truth probably lives somewhere in between, I believe. But with no further ado, family, let's check out what she had to say in this clip. Check it out.
The title of the book, Uncommon Favor, did that come from that interview and you talking with Holly Rowe, or was that always a personal mantra of yours?
I use that phrase when I can't explain what just happened. Because we lost the year before we won the championship. We lost to Iowa in the semifinals, and then that one hurt me really bad. Like it really, the failures hurt more than the victories.
Is that the toughest loss of your career? Of your coaching career?
Yeah.
That loss to Iowa, because that was the Caitlin Clark
Yeah.
team. That's the toughest loss? Yeah.
Yes.
Why was that so hard?
Not for me, for my players.
For your players.
Like, we had a great team. We had a great team. They did all the right things. Great people, great competitors. So I wanted them to win. I wanted them to go off, with a bang. And when that didn't happen, they were hurt, and that hurt me. Like, that hurt me to my core. Now, it didn't hurt me enough to didn't think there was a God. But I did question, hey, why? I need to know why. I need to know why. But the answer to the why happened a year later. I can show you better than I can tell you.
Right.
So God left me on the why, and then followed it up, and I had no words besides it's an uncommon favor.
Okay, well, if you are great, you just continue to walk in faith, which is the unseen, believing the things you can't see yet, that's actual reality and fruition physically. So at the end of the day, me being me who operates out of faith and a high believer when it comes to faith, believing in something that you want to achieve, you should never question it, because at the end of the day, if you question it, then how can you really stand for it on really honing in on what you believe in? Because the questioning is only a distraction to detour you. But however, I believe, in my opinion, family, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, because we just having a conversation. I believe she's just using Caitlin Clark as her name to market her book, to be honest. I don't think she really cares nothing about Caitlin Clark. I mean, she gives respects to the win that she lost to Caitlin Clark when she played against Caitlin Clark. But I think she's just using Caitlin Clark because Caitlin Clark is hot and actually changing the trajectory of the WNBA as a marketing tactic to market her book and actually grab attention to viewers so they can actually check out her book. That's just my opinion. But individuals like, maybe this will make her feel better. And then that was Angel Reese basically getting That was a foul play from Caitlin Clark that was recent. Some said, crazy how a 21-year-old did all this to Dawn. Someone said, even God knew who was going to be the face of the WNBA. Someone said, previously unbeaten and getting beat in the Final Four by Messiah will definitely make her question her God. She can't keep Caitlin Clark's name out her mouth in every interview she does. Move on, Gramps. Yep, CC already on Mount Rushmore. And then just for Iowa to get smoked by LSU the next game. Someone said that absolutely makes no sense. And honestly, that shouldn't make you question God. You got to be asking yourself other questions if you're questioning that. You're not really a believer in your faith, then you let one player who shot 41 points that night and 14 assists make you question your faith. You got to be questioning a lot more than that. So I'm sort of on the, I see this person right here that I'm highlighting, they kind of said what I said a little bit, but I'm saying it in the context of if you questioning your faith, then how can you really be believing? Because at the end of the day, you should already know walking in faith, you're going to be tested for something that you really want. And I'm gonna leave it there. But someone says haters still coming on here. LSU beat Iowa next game. Yeah, CC and those 2 and 3 star Iowa girls could beat 2 teams in a row, loaded with 5-star recruits and All-Americans everywhere on their rosters. Let's see. No wonder they're still trying to diminish Caitlin Clark even years later after she's single-handedly changed the WNBA women's sports. So that's the public reaction. Social media didn't hold back. Fans question how could a coach claim a non-title game was her worst loss. Others ask why Clark's name continues to be coming up in her post-game commentary, podcasts, and now books. And that's definitely fatigue in some corners, but also the real question is, why can't some coaches and players seem to move on from Caitlin Clark, right? Is it jealousy? Is it cultural friction? Or is it just the fact that she beat them fair and square and broke records doing it? So, while that drama was unfolding off the court, something more much grounded was happening on the court. So we got Ari McDonald, right? She played in the game 2 days ago. It was Tuesday's game, and it was against the Washington Mystics. She played phenomenal. She did a great job. Also in a short amount of time, and this being her first game, and she filled in a gap, brought the energy, and you could tell she was really honed on getting ready, so she didn't have to be ready. But I'm gonna mute the audio due to copyright purposes. But check it out. She was a very, very, very high energetic defensive threat, man. She was there, you know, the offense on the opposite team, in this case the Washington Mystics, like left them very to little to no room where you couldn't make no mistakes. They couldn't have no rebuttal because she was right there. She was on her defender and she was ready there to reenact. And then the chemistry, her passing, dishing out to Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hall coming through, because Lexi Hall is phenomenal with those corner threes, man. And just being able to be there to get those extra points and those extra pass and quickly get back on the offense and quickly instead of having more turnovers for the Indiana Fever, the opposite team had more turnovers where she actually translated that into more points. And the team's chemistry was amazing for a so short amount of time where this is her first game and literally getting off of a flight studying film. So this is how she felt about it. This is how Ari McDonald felt about her first game with the Indiana Fever.
Played in WNBA was against the Fever, so what was it like to be a part of the team and also just being, I believe her last game played in WNBA was against the Fever, so what was it like to be a part of the team and also just being ready, as they say, to be a pro and go out there and perform?
It felt good tonight to finally get back and just the team, the players, and just the fans, sports staff, they all were very welcoming and make sure, I had everything to be successful tonight. And, man, just shout out for the win. When your number's called, you got to be ready to deliver, and I felt like I did just that. But obviously I'm not satisfied, but grateful we got the win, though.
Can you walk us through your preparation? Steph highlighted a lot where you're watching film on the flight and then getting together with AK and then I think Bree as well.
OMG. Oh, it was a lot. That part made me anxious, just coming in, not knowing the system, not really playing with the players. But yeah, it was a lot of film sessions by myself, just rewatching stuff, and a lot of film with AK, just asking questions. I feel like a lot of people don't ask enough questions. So just being a sponge like these last couple of days, and I think that's helped me tonight.
What specifically were you trying to watch on the film? Like the flow or player tendencies or plays?
Plays, okay. Player tendencies, where my teammates like the ball, and just, paying attention to the scout, being a pro, just paying attention to the little details.
Yeah, Steph talks a lot about 0.5 second basketball. Just how does that fit in with the pace you like to play and just the style you like playing?
Yeah, just my style of play, just playing fast. When I was home watching games, Indiana was one of the teams I watched. I'm like, okay, I can kind of see myself, playing. But great system, and I'm happy that they made me comfortable enough to play my game. So it felt amazing and just exciting.
You hear the term all the time, like be a pro and stay ready, but I would imagine it's easier said than done. So as a competitor, what are you doing to kind of just stay ready, and what's that challenge to just challenge yourself in those moments?
But for me, these past couple weeks been tough. So I just been working out, just staying ready for my number is called, and just honestly just being grounded, and just not just basketball stuff, but just little things like meditating, just making sure staying myself, never getting too high, getting too low, because anything can happen.
What have these?
I'm gonna leave it there. So Ari McDonald stepped into a big role for the Indiana Fever and reminded everyone why she belongs in the WNBA. In my opinion, she still belongs in the WNBA. She has value. She has very, very much value when it comes to the pace of the game, picking up the pace. As we know, the WNBA is being more fast paced when it comes to game and rhythm. With Caitlin Clark being on the floor, picking up the speed and stuff like that when it comes to the next generation. So I do believe, in my opinion, she still should be in the WNBA wherever she should land. Indiana Fever temporarily, somebody's team on the WNBA. That's just my opinion. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But after being signed under a hardship contract, McDonald hit the court like a player with something to prove, and she admitted, as much in his post-game interview, that her words were raw, focused, and personal. She was in survival mode, and she said, this is my job and this is the audition. And it was obvious from her energy. She talked about watching hours of film, studying player tendencies, and preparing like a pro, despite barely knowing the system. Even without guaranteed minutes or a long-term contract, McDonald played like a leader. She was aggressive on defense, steady on offense, and locked in across every possession. That's the grind of a WNBA life for non-superstars. 1 minute you unsigned, the next you log in 30 minutes in a must-win game, right? And the mental side is brutal. So McDonald's opened up about using, meditation and emotional regulation and staying level-headed just to stay focused in the chaos. That kind of transparency is rare and viable. And she's not just an athlete, she's a professional. And her message wasn't just for young players, it was for the league. And you give players like her more chances because the skill is there, the hunger is there, the commitment is there. But if you want to watch more of this post-game interview, the last two or so minutes of it, 2 and 10 seconds, go check it out. But the bigger picture here, family, I want to get to is we got two narratives collided this week, right? One, a Hall of Fame coach still reflecting publicly on what Caitlin Clark represents and how hard it is to lose to Caitlin Clark, and the other, a hungry guard like Ari McDonald, proving she deserves more than a temporary role. And these stories may seem unrelated, but they both speak to where women's basketball is right now. The WNBA and women's college hoops are growing faster than ever, and with that growth comes friction, cultural, generational, even financial. So who gets the spotlight? Who gets the contract? Who gets remembered is the real question. So Dawn Staley isn't just talking about a loss, she's talking about a shift in power. And Ari McDonald isn't just chasing minutes. She's fighting for a place in a changing league. So I want to know you guys' thoughts. Was Dawn Staley being honest or holding a grudge, or was she just keeping Caitlin Clark in her name? I mean, keeping Caitlin Clark in her mouth to market because that's the most capitalizing thing she could capitalize off of to make her book stay relevant in this day and time, because ain't nobody really checking for her, in my opinion. Life goes on. She played in the finals with she played in not the finals, but she played with South Carolina versus the Iowa Hawkeyes. They lost. They took that L, and life moves on. 2 years later, this is the second year of Caitlin Clark being in the WNBA. That's what it is. But however, family, and should the Fever find a way to keep Ari McDonald beyond just a hardship deal? Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Keep your alerts on and stay locked in, because this season, there's no shortage of stories shaking up the women's game. Let that love supersede the hate. Spread that peace, love, and positivity, family. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.